It's official, Toyota has picked a location for its battery production plant in America, and there's going to be a lot of EVs coming for the United States. We're over at the Toyota newsroom. This story has been developing for a while, and it's been confirmed today. Toyota selects North Carolina Greensboro Randolph site for new United States automotive battery plant. If you're new to the channel, my name's Kirk. I talk about Japanese and Korean cars. I also review them, test drive them. Subscribe if you're into that sort of thing. And after this article, we have a lot more things to talk about in the industry. Subaru is another hot topic. Man, it's just tough times for them. Anyways, plant is first to produce automotive batteries for Toyota in North America. Enough battery packs for 1.2 million electrified vehicles per year. Now, Toyota classifies electrified vehicles as one of four things: fuel cell electric vehicles, hybrid electric vehicles, plug-in hybrid electric vehicles, and then battery electric vehicles. This plant is going to cost Toyota $1.29 billion and will be named Toyota's Battery Manufacturing North Carolina, TBMNC. It comes online in 2025. So in the meantime, they're going to continue to work with Panasonic and have Japanese sourced batteries, and then for the Chinese market, of course, they're working with CATL and BYD for that specific market there. TBMNC will have 4 production lines, each capable of delivering enough lithium batteries for 200,000 vehicles. Now that's when it first opens, but they will expand to at least 6 production lines for a combined total of up to 1.2 million vehicles per year. Now, the majority of those are going to be hybrid, of course, and probably something like 5% of battery electric vehicles. Of course, that ratio between battery electric, plug-in, and hybrid will change year over year, but it's going to be a very slow change. This new plant will create over 1,700 new jobs. So why did Toyota pick this area in North Carolina? Well, it met their strategic criteria. It has an extensive and well-maintained highway system for overland logistics, 4 international airports and 2 seaports because they will be bringing materials in and shipping these vehicles out, on-site railway, an outstanding diverse workforce, renewable energy availability, world-renowned education system, and strong government partnership at both the state and local levels. It was previously announced that this would be a joint venture with one of Toyota's subsidiaries, which is Toyota Tsusho, which will only own about 10% of TBMNC. We still have 4 more years before this plant comes online. The market's going to change quite a bit between now and then. Pulling up the press slides, by 2030, 80% of their vehicle sales will be electrified. So the breakdown is 2 million internal combustion engines, 2 million zero emissions vehicles, which the vast majority will be battery electric, and just a small sliver is hydrogen. And the electrified vehicles down here are going to be plug-in hybrid and standard hybrids. So looking at their current hybrid lineup, I think it'll make a lot of sense for many of their vehicles to get hybrid batteries from this plant to reduce costs. It's hard to say what kind of battery electric vehicles will be supplied from this plant. Well, Toyota has confirmed that there'll be a fully battery electric pickup truck at some point in time by 2025. So I'm assuming that would be the Tundra. So that would probably come from that plant as well. I'm dying to have a Sienna plug-in hybrid, or anyone other than Dodge to have a plug-in hybrid minivan. They could produce the RAV4 Prime, Highlander Prime, Sienna Prime, all those larger battery packs in that plant as well. And to give you an idea, here in the United States, Toyota sells a little over 2 million vehicles per year on average from 2015 to 2019. Of course, 2020 is a strange year. 2021's been a strange year. It will rebound a little bit, but they're getting hit hard really bad at the end of this year with production supply issues. So if they're able to produce 1.2 million electrified vehicles eventually at that plant, half of the vehicles in the United States sold by Toyota will be not only electrified, but probably have those battery packs from that plant. Now, they could export some of those vehicles, not only overseas because they have those shipping ports there, but also to the north in Canada and to the south in Mexico too. So what kind of chemistry are we expecting in these battery packs when this plant comes online by 2025? Is it going to be nickel metal hydride? Well, Toyota's really proud of their bipolar nickel metal hydride battery, which was just announced in the new Aqua, and we'll probably start seeing that in Toyota hybrids in America eventually, just don't know when. But Toyota has also said that bipolar technology and philosophy can be applied to lithium-ion batteries, and I think that's what's going to be produced when they're talking about a further advanced new type of lithium-ion battery for production in the second half of the 2020s. And that just coincides when the new plant in North Carolina comes online in 2025. So they will be producing a new type of lithium-ion battery. Could be a bipolar battery, which is going to double the voltage out of it. But I'll see you guys down below on your thoughts about Toyota's battery site. Over $1 billion in North Carolina, producing enough batteries initially in 2025 for 200,000 vehicles, and then over time open up an additional assembly lines for 1.2 million electrified vehicles, whether that's hybrid, plug-in hybrid, or of course battery electric. We're heading to Car Scoops here, and we're going to talk about some more dismal news for Subaru. Just a reminder that they have completely fumbled the ball when it comes to shoring up their chip supply. First back-to-back bad sales years, declining sales year, should I say, since the mid-90s. They only have a 5-day supply of vehicles on their lots. Pre-COVID was 45 days. They have a backlog of 45,000 units waiting to be sold to customers. And in November, their sales were 33,000 units. Just to give you an idea, they're more than a month behind at delivering cars at this point in time. And it's going to be a snowball effect because Nakamura, their CEO, has said they are about a year from returning to normal, and their new normal will be a 30-day supply compared to 45K pre-COVID. Scrolling down to the comments, which are always fun, right? This guy got a 21 Crosstrek rear-end at a stoplight in July, just 2 months after he got it. He literally just took it in today to get repaired because it took 5 months to get replacement parts. And I can confirm this. I've had a Subaru parts manager reach out to me and say, parts are just nowhere to be found. They can't get the parts. They're really, really far behind. Again, like I said, that snowball effect, not only for new cars, but getting parts on existing cars. Shifting gears here, the Honda Passport's getting quite a bit more expensive for 2022. It gets rugged new styling, new trail sport model, adds emotion and adventure. EXL 2-wheel drive starts at $37,870. When you add destination, we're talking $39,000 here for the entry-level Passport. If we look at the 21 Passport, before destination was $32,000. If you add that $1,200, we're essentially at $34,000. So it's essentially a $5,000 price hike for the entry-level Passport now. And that's its 2-wheel drive. They've revised the packaging, so it's not like it's an apples to apples. The new base model gets leather seating, one-touch power moonroof, 20-inch alloy wheels. So they've improved the base equipment, but still, that's a lot to ask for an entry-level tier on a Honda. Is about 39 grand. I'm going to switch gears real quick because Mazda also announced a CX-9 with standard all-wheel drive. I don't know about you guys. I know it's a different styled vehicle, but CX-9 entry-level gives you all-wheel drive. It's 5 grand cheaper than the entry-level front-wheel drive Passport. I know it doesn't have a V6, but the turbo 2.5 liter has been used for a long time now. It's pretty reliable, great amount of torque. The 6-speed auto on this is very, very good. And here we go, I was able to pull up pricing side by side on these. Just bring this up because both of these pricing were announced on the same day from two Japanese automakers on larger crossovers. I know the CX-9 has an extra row of seats, so it's added benefit here on the CX-9 if you need to bring additional people along with you. We have the new Passport Trail Sport. It gives us a 10 millimeter increase in track to improve stance and stability. It has unique tires with increased sidewall tread for a more rugged look. Well, sidewall tread will also help with gripping if you're off-roading too. Future Trail Sports, as Honda has said, not the one coming out this year, will have a lot more attention brought to it. Better suspensions especially. This is more of an aesthetic upgrade. You get the Trail Sport logos, you get unique grille treatment and more aggressive front and rear bumpers, and includes a skid plate. You get a unique interior with orange contrast stitching on the steering wheel and door panels and seats. So to me, the Trail Sport is going to be kind of like Subaru's Wilderness package. You'll have Honda with their Trail Sport, you'll have Subaru with their Wilderness, you'll have Toyota with their TRD, and whatever Mazda wants to name their more rugged CX-5 line. And speaking of off-roading rugged ability, the Tucson adds a rugged XRT trim. We first saw this on the Santa Fe, more prominent side cladding. And we get black mirrors, darked outside window surrounds, so you don't have chrome window surrounds. So it's just a little bit more fancy. It's essentially very similar to the Trail Sport. Probably doesn't have that same sort of interior badging as the Trail Sport does. The XRT trim is more just like exterior only attention. But guys, I need to end it there. The video's already gone on too long. Toyota's manufacturing batteries for America in America by 2025 in North Carolina. Subaru's supply issue continues to get worse before it gets any better. And Honda's new Passport is very expensive. But guys, I'll see you down below in the comments. Smash the like button if you made it this far. Subscribe if you haven't. Appreciate it. Happy holidays to everyone out there. See you in the next one, and peace out.